Victor Wembanyama has been described as a generational talent thanks to his phenomenal size and skill set. While many only have good things to say about him, some people have pointed out that certain things might stop him from reaching his full potential. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the main factor that can jeopardize the Frenchman's career, along with what makes him such a sought-after prospect. Let's get right into it. First up, what's this limiting factor? Well, as you might have guessed, it's his height. Even though his size and build are one of the reasons he's been taking the NBA world by storm, history shows us that this can actually be a double-edged sword. Despite the fact that the NBA is known for having some of the tallest athletes you'll see, there haven't been many giants, and the ones that have made it rarely ever make their mark on the league. After all, throughout the 75-year history of the NBA, there have only been 26 players who are 7'3" or taller, and only 3 of them are current players. While size is undoubtedly really important in basketball, there comes a point when a player is simply just too tall, and it seems that Victor falls under this category. According to YouTuber JXMyHighRoller, the point at which an NBA athlete has too much height seems to be around the 6'11" mark. Most players above that height are bound to have serious, if not career-ending injuries, as well as health issues. So at a certain point, these athletes' heights end up being detrimental in the long run. As of now, only 5 active players are taller than 7 feet, and that includes Rudy Gobert, Chet Holmgren, Bol Bol, Kristaps Porzingis, and Boban Marjanovic. Chet's yet to play a game in the NBA, and Bol's still young, but the rest of the guys haven't been too special. Plus, the 7'6" Taco Fall's no longer in the NBA, which further shows how such players aren't particularly successful in the league. Next up, what does history tell us about tall players and how injury-prone they are? Let's start with the tallest player in NBA history, Jorge Muresan. He missed 2 full seasons during his career because of a foot injury and ended up playing only 6 seasons in the NBA before retiring. Then we have the 7'4" Rick Smits, who had to deal with serious nerve damage in his feet throughout his career, while the 7'3" Zydrunas Ilgauskas played in just 29 games in 3 seasons from 1998 to 2001. And of course, we have the 7'6" Yao Ming. Even though he had a Hall of Fame career, he also suffered foot and leg injuries, which cut his career short and prevented him from being one of the greatest of all time. Not to forget, Kristaps Porzingis' career hasn't been the same because of injuries as well. Plus, the 7'1" Chet literally suffered a foot injury over the summer after LeBron James bumped into him on his way to the rim. This is particularly worrying because Victor has the exact same build as Holmgren. Both players are super tall and skinny with barely any muscle, so it won't be surprising if they suffer such injuries as their career progresses. Not to mention, if we look at the percentage of games missed from lottery picks sorted by height since 2000, players above the height of 7 feet have missed 26.2 of all potential NBA games. So, the odds seem to be stacked against Wembanyama. Moving on, what about the bright side? While insanely tall players have their careers cut short, or they aren't able to make much of a name for themselves, some have had pretty good careers too. After all, 3 players who are above 7'2" have etched their names in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Arvydas Sabonis, Ralph Sampson, and Yao Ming all had terrific careers. Sampson and Yao didn't have the best longevity, but Sabonis did, as he was a pro player for 16 years. So it's clearly not impossible for a giant such as Victor to have a great NBA career. Also, there are numerous players around the 7-foot mark, such as Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, who've been killing it for years. Sure, that height seems to be the sweet spot, but it still shows us that just because you're super tall, it doesn't mean you're destined for a rough career. Following that, what can Wemby do to make sure his build doesn't jeopardize his career? Let's not forget that Giannis was also once this tall, skinny kid that didn't look like he'd do much damage in the NBA, but he made a great decision by working hard on his body by hitting the weights. Soon, he started becoming stronger and bulkier, which just took his game to the next level. So the answer is clear. Wembanyama needs to be in the gym more often, bulk up, and be way more muscular. If he wants to continue his dominant performances in the NBA, he'll need to get big like Giannis and LeBron at some point, or else he might just get injured the way Chet did. Most of the athletes Victor's up against in France aren't nearly on the same level as the players in the NBA, so it's important that he realizes this as soon as possible. We're not expecting the Frenchman to get buff overnight, but by the time he's 24, he should aim to have a Giannis-like physique. Now let's talk about whether Victor's the most interesting prospect in NBA history. First up, have we ever seen anyone like Wemby before? There have been players as tall or taller than him, and yes, we've seen tall athletes that can either shoot or dribble super well, but the Frenchman's different. Why? Because he combines all these skills and multiplies them to a great extent. Wembanyama's almost like an unstoppable created player in 2K, but even better somehow. He's a beast on both ends of the floor, as he can guard and block almost any shot due to his height. And since he's so quick and agile, he can defend players in the post and out in the perimeter, something many big men can't do. As for Victor's offense, his bag's super deep. Not only can he drain shots from downtown, but when he does, he's out there looking like Curry or Dame Dalla. What's more, he can drain, catch, and shoot threes as well as pull-up threes, and his middies just as lethal too. The thing about Wemby is that his release is so quick and high that it's almost impossible to block any of his shots. Keeping his build and insane skill set in mind, it's almost as if he bends the very rules of basketball reality. Moving on, is he as good as advertised? Victor just turned 19 recently, so a lot of his earlier stats are from when he was pretty young and played limited minutes. But since October 2022, he's been on a tear. He played on American soil in the beginning of October for a couple of exhibition games, and he left everyone amazed. In his first outing against NBA's G League Ignite, Wemby put on a show as he racked up 37 points, swatted 5 shots, and drained 7 shots from beyond the arc. And the cherry on top was that his efficiency was spectacular, as he went 55% from the field and 63.6% from deep. Though, unfortunately for him, his team couldn't come out on top. But 2 days later, both teams faced off again, with Victor hungry for revenge. And revenge is exactly what he got, as he posted 36 points and 11 rebounds, allowing his team, Metropolitans 92, to take the W. Since then, he's been killing it in the French League in the 2023 season. Across 17 games so far, he's only playing 32 minutes per contest, yet he's averaging 22.1 points, 9.5 rebounds, 3.1 blocks, and 1 steal per game. Not to mention, his efficiency's pretty good, as his shooting splits currently rest at 48.5, 30, and 80. The Frenchman's leading his team in points, rebounds, and blocks at the age of just 19, allowing the Mets to have the second best record in the LNB Pro A of 13-4. Up next, let's look at some reactions to the athlete. Based on how people have been reacting to the athlete, it's not surprising that he's being dubbed as one of, if not the greatest prospect ever. Literally, everyone's been going crazy over Wemby for the past few months, and they're saying all sorts of things because of how impressed they are with him. We have Steph calling him a cheat code and LeBron calling him an alien because he claimed he's never seen anyone like him before. And of course, we can't forget about Channing Frye saying that the 19-year-old's a combination of Yao Ming and Kevin Durant. Many others have also had nothing but good things to say about him, but one reaction was particularly hilarious, yet understandable. According to an anonymous international scout, seeing Wembanyama go off against the NBA G League Ignite team was like watching Jesus walk on water. That sounds outrageous, right? Surely. There's nothing on this earth that can compare to watching Jesus walking on water. Well, for the scout, Wembanyama stepping on the court's just as jaw-dropping to witness, if not more. Finally, is Wembanyama a better prospect than LeBron was? Before last year, anyone and everyone would tell you that the greatest prospect in NBA history was King James. Much like Victor, he was being given a lot of mainstream attention despite not even being in the NBA. When James was still in high school, he was viewed as the ideal prospect as he had the perfect size, build, and skill set in the eyes of many, though at the end of the day, he wasn't something that was never seen before. On the other hand, it can be argued that Wemby's far more interesting and better as a prospect because of his size, athleticism, shooting, dribbling, and ability to play elite defense. He's so complete at such a young age that every team wants their hands on them. Of course, we don't know what the future holds, but as long as the 19-year-old keeps working hard and bulks up as time goes on, he can be the greatest of all time once he hangs up his boots. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Wemby's gonna be injury-prone, or will his career live up to the hype? Let us know in the comments below. As always, remember to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.